Welcome to third grade back to school night. Under better circumstances, we'd all be gathered together in the third grade pod. Be really great to see everyone. This is our next best option, and we're glad you've all made it here to join us. We've got some great information that applies to all of third grade, so I hope you will enjoy spending some time with us right now. And here we go.
Hi, my name is Miss Sabina, and I live in New Delhi with my husband and 2 children. I love to sing and play with my children when I'm not teaching. This is Miss White, and we have been together for a long time. This is our 15th year of teaching together. Mrs. White also lives in Delhi with her husband and 3 daughters. She loves to bake and she swims when she's not teaching. Welcome to third grade.
Ms. Sipel, are you on the call? Might be muted.
Hi, I'm Shaila Suhail. I've been working in AES for 11 years and I've worked in different grades. So this is my second year with Megan in third grade. Before coming to AES, Megan taught in New York City and she is here in Delhi with her husband.
Hello everyone, my name is Ms. Sujata and Ms. Naik and I work as partners. Ms. Naik lives in Noida and this is our 11th year working together. Ms. Naik loves nature and she also likes to play cards. Welcome to third grade.
Hi, I am Anu Anand and I am working with Mr. Rob. This is my 15th year at AES and 5th year with Mr. Rob. I like music, I like traveling, and I like art and craft. And Mr. Rob, he loves being outside in nature. So whether it's climbing mountains, being on water, or just taking walks in nature. Welcome to third grade.
Hello and welcome back to school night. My name is Derek Swart, also known as Mr. S. And I'm the EAL teacher for third grade. We also have Chandni Sharma, who works with the World Language English. And then we also have Lydia Mendez, who works with our beginners.
Hi, I'm Ms. Deepshika Sethi. I'm the teaching assistant of learning support. This is my second year. I will be helping out learning support students of grade 3 with guidance from Ms. Camille Lepp. And I'm really excited to work with our students. Welcome to third grade.
All right, so first off, we want to talk about some of our parent learning opportunities that we have throughout the year. We just had one last week, in fact, and it was a technology tutorial where we walked through some of the technology that we're using. We also plan to be doing some parent opportunities for writing and math and reading to kind of get an opportunity to see how writing is taught in third grade, how math is taught in third grade, and so on. Those dates are to be decided. We would hope that they would be in the classroom where you can see that environment. However, at this point, we're not sure if they will be on Zoom or in the classroom. We hope in class, but otherwise we will update you about when we can do these opportunities for learning in the future.
Okay, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what third grade is about and what the kids are going to learn, we want to talk and just mention that we realize as teachers that we oftentimes use educational jargon or teacher talk, and we're going to try to inform parents of what these words mean throughout the year, throughout our newsletters and also on the grade 3 launch. So some of the words that you're going to hear right away, number talks, like for example, today our students started working with number talks in math. We also talked about CER, which is claim evidence reasoning. This is some work that second graders started using last year in math, so we'll continue to do that. We'll talk about math practices. We use rubrics. We are a school that believes in reading and writing workshop models. And oftentimes we talk to students about thinking routines to get deeper into conversations and discussions. So when these words bubble up, and if you're ever feeling confused that you don't know what we're talking about, please reach out to us. But like I said, we're going to try to define these words throughout the year in our newsletters. So some of our first units. We're excited to launch third grade math this week. Then after that, we'll be digging into multiplication and division. This is definitely a priority and a core of our third grade math program. We'll be writing in our writer's notebooks. Second graders coming up to third grade learn how to use writer's notebooks. And in reading, we're working on building a strong reading life. And then finally, science and social studies. We started the year with a lot of community building, and we'll move on throughout the year, going back and forth between social studies and science focus.
In math, which we just started this morning, we will be using these things called number talks, and this is a chance for classes to have discussions around the numbers, to have discussions around the strategies that students use and the strategies that we all recognize work well for us individually and may work well for others as well. So those talks are a great chance for us to really dig into a problem and have a deep conversation about it. In third grade, fluency or fact fluency is important. We know that being automatic, having what's called automaticity with basic facts is important to future learning, as students need to be able to do those single digit and small quick calculations accurately and with automaticity. And so that's a practice that will occur throughout the year and as other math units are also continuing. You'll hear us speak about the mathematical practices. There are 8 mathematical practices that apply to mathematicians regardless of age or profession. They have more to do with how we approach the math, not necessarily specifics of particular content. We want students to be able to communicate their thinking to us, and we will refer to claim evidence reasoning. Students being able to have some evidence and some reasoning that shows us and their peers how they arrived at a certain claim or solution to a problem. In third grade math, we tend to move from very concrete adding and subtracting of objects and moving objects into groups to the more abstract use of equations, expressions, variables, and actual numbers as an abstract way to think about that. So this is really where mathematics in school starts to really launch. And so we're happy to be a big part of that here in third grade. As Ms. White mentioned, critical areas for math in third grade include multiplication and division and the connection between the two. Using the rectangular array as a visual image for area. And then we'll talk about fractions, and we'll also talk about shapes, but primarily just two-dimensional shapes at this point.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about literacy and in particular about reading and writing. We use a workshop model to teach literacy. In a workshop model, the lessons are taught, with a mini lesson, and then students are given a chance to be actively engaged and practice that with support. Then we encourage some independent work. We're always trying to have conferences, about their reading and their writing. And then students also get a chance to share. Of course, this is a little different given the fact that we are virtual, but we're still going to try and hold true to that model of teaching. So in a reading workshop, our goal, of course, we just launched today about how to find just right books, how to build independence. And the big shift in third grade is that students are reading to learn rather than learning to read. This is where we're going to develop their comprehension skills further. We're going to have kids understand theme and the message of the book. So it's really digging deeper with the text. In the writing workshop, through the different kind of units that we will be doing across the year, we will be using authentic writers' notebooks. Our main goal, of course, is to increase fluency and volume. And again, pay attention to organization like paragraphing and chapters, and teaching students a variety of ways in which they can elaborate and expand their ideas. It could be speech, it could be thought, it could be dialogue, it could be word choice. So, but again, in the construct of a workshop model.
Our science and social studies units are going to be focusing on learning from each other and learning from our classmates and learning from some of the expert knowledge that students may bring with their interest. And a big piece of both science and social studies this year is developing questioning skills, questions that can then drive further learning, and learning to use different resources to find answers using different evidence from text sources or modeling sources that can help us find answers. Another big piece that our social studies unit started on for the first 3 weeks was developing collaboration skills and working together and communicating effectively and creating kind of like a cohesive unit that we can then use to help build confidence in each other, learning how to listen to each other, all of those things. We take turns between science and social studies. The first few units, or all of the units for science, are starting out with climate and weather, followed by forces in motion, and finishing up on a unit with life cycles. And the topics for social studies, we did our community building, then that kind of shifts into geography. We trade off with like geography and climate and weather are related, so they all lead into the next one. After doing climate and weather, then we move back to social studies with economies within communities, trying to find the connection between often climate and geography and how that develops communities and cultures. And then we jump back into forces in motion and life cycles, and then finish the whole year with a courage unit that also connects with our reading and writing skills. So that is social studies. Okay. Moving on into learning habits. This is kind of connected to what Mrs. White said about some of the teacher jargon. You're going to hear learning habits a lot, in that we want students to develop habits of minds and attitudes about how they approach learning and how they approach kind of their own personal learning and themselves. And we teach students to be active thinkers, resilient learners, and global citizens. And each one of those is broken down into specific habits of mind and attitudes about achieving those. And it's really helpful to actually show the students, and they see the language that we use ourselves, and it can really help them to develop their own thinking skills by being specific about what does active thinking actually look like? What does being a resilient learner actually do? What are the small skills that students can practice each day in order to build up these larger character traits?
Okay, this is EAL support, and this is English support for our students who are learning English. We have a beginner class, which it's a small group setting for those new to English, and we also promote motivation and risk-taking. We also have a world language English class, And we use grade 3 curriculum to develop language with a strong focus on academic language. In World Language English, we provide multiple opportunities to practice and grow in speaking, listening, reading, and writing. In addition, we also collaborate with the content teachers to make the lessons more accessible for all the students. And we co-assess and co-reflect to refine our practices that work with all the students.
So as we all know that, homeschool communication is really, really important. And especially at this time when we cannot see each other face to face. So we have to find alternative ways whereby we feel connected and we feel that we're able to communicate openly and freely with each other. So one of the big things this year has been the third grade Launchpad. This is a Google site. It's a part of the AES website, which is secure. And on that third grade Launchpad, you'll find several little buttons there. But the week at a glance is really important because that's where the overview for the week is. And that's where all the links to all the meetings are. I know it seems very hard at this time, but eventually we all get really good at this. We will also have a weekly newsletter. There's a tab for that as well. And then there's also a place where we will keep adding tutorials that we find might be useful to support families and students as we move along in the year. As always, all our email addresses, and especially the homeroom teachers, we would love it if you would write to us if there's a concern. Please write to us directly, and we will work to respond within 24 hours, of course, with the exception on weekends.
Now, sometimes an email just isn't enough, and so a Zoom call is also a way that we can communicate any pressing needs between individual families and the classroom. It's also the way that we're going to address a lot of our gatherings as teachers and students. We'll have whole class Zoom meetings. We'll have small groups of just a teacher and 3 or 4 students. And then we will also be holding one-to-one conversations where we can really focus on the needs of individual students based on assessment and what their targeted needs are at the time. We're still going to have conferences just like we always have. Conferences will fall in the fall and in the spring at times when it's kind of between reporting periods. And those are a good time to just have a talk about in the fall, what are goals for the rest of the year? And then in the spring, celebrating having met those goals or having come to points where now what's next for the coming year and for the summer. Report cards come out, as always, in December and at the end of the school year. And they, at the end of last spring, looked a little bit different. I don't think that it's certain exactly what report cards will look like, if they will look the same as they have in the past, or if there will be a little bit more consideration for the times that we're in. So expect all the information about scheduling conferences, about receiving report cards, how to get all that in the weeks and months to come.
All right. Birthdays in third grade look very different than birthdays in second grade, not only online, but also in our third grade pod. We really shifted to, instead of celebrating a birthday that day, we celebrated birthdays on a monthly basis with a whole group, whole grade celebration. They're not going to be quite as similar online, but they're still going to be recognized as a whole village or a whole grade. So birthdays are always announced in the newsletters. And then for the village meeting that week, we'll recognize the birthdays that are there. And of course, individuals will still be recognized in their homerooms when it is as close as possible to the actual day of their birthday. And we haven't fully planned out whether we're going to be singing happy birthday songs. Don't exactly work on Zoom, so we will probably be doing, some other activities where it's like they get their birthday acknowledged in a slideshow and those types of things. Once we're back in the pod, there's a whole different set of the way we'll do birthdays, and we'll give that information when we know we're back together in person. All right, and we really want to thank everyone for your partnership in this. Nothing is possible without everyone working together. And we just want to say thank you from everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, parents, thank you. We appreciate you attending the third grade back to school night presentation. We have about roughly 10 minutes. The third grade team is happy to take questions. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A icon. You can submit your questions through there, and then we will answer them, and hopefully be able to give you the information you need. I want to thank the third grade team for the effort they put into the presentation. I hope parents found that information useful, and it was very detailed. And like I said, any questions that you may have, we are happy to answer them. What I have found, third grade team, is if I talk long enough, someone will ask a question so that I will stop talking. So I usually try to talk for a while, give them an opportunity to type, and wait for that question to come up. But as we wait, if there's anything else anybody would like to add to the presentation or comment on, feel free. Otherwise, we'll give it a little bit and see what happens. Okay. All right, third grade parents. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. If we don't get any questions in the next minute or so, we're going to say goodnight and thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to join us. You guys did such a great job. No questions. That's amazing. I mean, that's good. Oh, we have one. Oh, Wendy says thank you. Does someone want to reply to that? All right. Okay, third grade, I appreciate your effort in the presentation. Parents, families, I thank you for being here this evening. I'm going to go ahead and let everyone go. If you happen to have a fourth or fifth grader, we will see you later tonight. I want to thank everyone for being here. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.